I'm going to be tying a black jig head woolly worm. It's going to be, this is a 1/32 ounce jig head, and I just got it out of the oven. I went ahead and painted it myself with some black powder paint. So yeah, and I'm going to be using brown thread, brown chenille, red yarn for the tail, and then grizzly hackle for the hackle on the body. Pretty simple fly, so let's go ahead and get started. So I just put the brown thread on. I'm gonna tie the tail on. I'm using yarn, so what I like to do with yarn is lay it down over the whole hook, because if you just put the tiny bit of yarn in towards the back, it's just gonna kind of bunch it up, and it's gonna have a big butt and then a small waist, which isn't a bad thing for a lot of things, but not for fishing. And go ahead and tie that yarn on there all the way back, and then instead of just trimming this off, I'm gonna fold it over to give it kind of that bubble in the back. It's more red, so it's gonna attract fish a little bit better. Also, that yarn, where it's just hanging off like that, it likes to come apart, so this kind of keeps it on a little better. So got the tail on, you clip that off. Oh yeah, I'm also going to be using copper wire to hold down the hackle so it doesn't have a mind of its own. And because I know I've caught a lot of fish on woolly worms, particularly woolly worms with a squirmy tail in the back, and they get tore up because they catch a lot of fish. So got the tail on. Now I'm going to be using just copper small wire. I'm going to go ahead and lay it down flat and tie that on, but we won't be using this till the last step to cinch our grizzly hackle down. So just go ahead and tie that thing down all the way back to the butt, to the tail, and then move it out of the way. Next steps to put the chenille. I'm using brown chenille, and I use a lot of yarn, but I haven't found any brown yarn, so I'm using chenille. With chenille, what's cool about it is to tie it down. If you take and you pinch towards the end of the chenille and you try to pull that fuzz off, the fuzz will come off, and you'll be able to make a smaller profile whenever you tie your chenille down. That way it's not all bunched up on you. So just like that, tie that down. Cool. And then take your thread all the way up to the front, and you're gonna go ahead and wrap that chenille all the way up towards the jig. Tie it down. 3, 4, 5. I do 5 wraps to tie it down, and then I do about 5 to 10 wraps or something to the front of it to kind of cinch it down, and then cut the chenille off. Cool. That step's done. Now it's time for the grizzly hackle. So find yourself a piece of hackle that's not too big, not too small, but something long enough where you can go down the whole length of the body of the fly. About that long will work. Cut it off about there and peel off all that fuzzy stuff so that you have the nice fibers, and then you've got a spot to tie your feather down with your thread. Just tie it on there nice and good. Then you're going to do a couple wraps towards the front of the. Ooh, that's not good. Do a couple. Okay, I'm gonna retie this on. This happens when you get careless. Once the hackle's on, you're gonna wrap it around about 2 times up. Why does it keep doing that? Come on. Cooperate with me. About 2 times up front, and then go ahead and wrap it on back. And then hold on to your hackle. You're going to cinch everything down with your copper wire. So just wrap that copper wire right towards the back of it to cinch that feather down that you have in your hands. And then you can let go. Then you can wrap up towards the head of the jig to the fly. Cinching down all them fibers. You can wiggle it around as you go forward to kind of make it clean all the way up to the front so you don't keep down any of the feathers. Kind of pull it back the best you can once you get to the front, and it's time to tie that down. About 5 in the tying it down, then I don't know, 5, 6, 7 wraps or so in the front, and then you're gonna break it off. Instead of cutting it, it makes the copper sharp. You can work it back and forth and then helicopter it. Usually it comes right off right away. A few more wraps. There. It usually works faster than that, but for some reason it was being stubborn. Trim off your excess hackle in the back, kind of fluff it up the best you can, and then it's time to finish your fly. And do some half hitches at the front of the fly, do like 5 or so. And then voila, you're done. Woolly worm. It's a really good fly for trout, and actually read yesterday night that people use this fly for steelhead too, for low water steelhead. So that's good to know. I know where I live in Washington, sounds like there's a lot of summer run steelhead, so this might be the ticket when I go up there trying for cutthroats or for just rainbows. Put on one of these, you got a chance to hook it onto a steelhead too. So it's nice and heavy, so you can Euro nymph it. Uses a Euro nymph at the point, or you can fish it under a really buoyant strike indicator. But yeah, or you can just drift it just like you normally would fly fish. And that's it. Jig head, woolly worm. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you learned something, and yeah, have a good one.